Hey, how you doing today? We're Team 3. We'll be doing our project over our overall management issues within our organization. I'm Davion Anderson, and I'm a sports admin major.
I'm Kaylin Corn, and I'm a finance major.
I'm Griffin Miller, and I'm a business administration major.
I'm Colby Sharp, and I'm a construction management major.
I'm Brandon Jenkins, and I'm an accounting major.
I'm Braxton Foreman, and I'm a construction management major.
And next, we'll be going into the organization that we chose and the issues within it. We had chose Walmart because Walmart has been a business that struggled with a lot of issues over the past few years. Some things that you can just see Walmart has problems with is things such as diversity, discrimination, organizational avoidance, adequate employee performance, and also management issues. Diversity raises both ethical and responsibility issues. One of the most important management issues to emerge over the past 40 years, as you can see, that is still being dealt with today. And diversity is everywhere within organizations all over the world. With discrimination is an ongoing issue. And you know that it's a big issue when we have a law put into place to stop it. But we also can see that still going on today. A lot of people face discrimination by gender, just not equal pay, and also things just as like race and ethnicity. Organizational avoidance was something that you can just go into Walmart and see every day, because as you go into Walmart, you can see that there's a lack in customer service because there's not a lot of workers really around to help you. And sometimes you have to walk around just to find one. There's a lot of things within the aisles that's not put into the right place. So you can see employees not actually doing what they're supposed to do. And a lot of people that shop in Walmart also make like suggestions that they should do better with managing their employees and also managing their space. With an etiquette employee performance, as I just talked about, employees not doing their jobs, Walmart does a terrible job at having their managers act as managers and tell employees to do the right thing. Managers have issues that leads to management issues within the organization, because that involves the lack of care of the higher ups. The higher ups feel like they're not human and they're not being taken care of, so they tend to act like employees instead of acting as higher ups. So that's why we chose Walmart, because Walmart has so many problems that we can talk about and that we can address. Next up, Kaylin will be discussing our planning stage and how we implement solving such problems and the two main problems that we'll focus on today.
After picking 5 managerial issues within Walmart, we actually decided to narrow that down into 2 main managerial issues, and these include organizational avoidance and a lack of inclusion. So when focusing on the organizational avoidance piece, we usually see unorganized aisleways and shelves like Davion discussed earlier. This makes it really difficult for people to find items. And a lot of the times employees seem to be ignorant of this, and it can be difficult to find a customer assistance. So looking at these photos, we can see how unorganized the aisles are and the shelves, along with not like restocking items. And so this is the difficulties I'm talking about. So according to a Forbes article, Walmart had goods hung loose on separate racks in the most unattractive way. And the apparel wasn't the only thing in disarray. The rest of the store was disorganized and out of stock. The article also stated that this showed the disregard management had for their customers and employees. The organizational avoidance piece tends to stem from no employee supervision, which we'll get into later. And this also leads to a lack of confidence and lack of value. So this also can be stemmed from a lack of inclusion. The lack of inclusion piece in Walmart has been a big issue in different ways. Although Walmart says that one of its top priorities is fostering a culture of inclusion in its workplace, a survey reviewed by Bloomberg News showed that Black employees felt they lacked opportunities to advance their careers, and a lot of them said that they would not recommend working at Walmart to their family and friends. This lack of inclusion can lead to employees being treated unfairly and making them feel unworthy, unimportant, uncomfortable, and a lot of other things. All these issues can lead to a lack of confidence in the workplace and can affect employee performance. If employees are underperforming, the store will struggle with customer service, organizational skills, time management, and more, which can create a decline in customers, employees, and revenue. This can also lead to Walmart's downfall. So now Griffin's going to talk about the solutions that we came up with for these managerial issues and how we're going to implement them.
So the two managerial issues that we decided to focus on, like my previous team member stated, were organizational avoidance and a lack of inclusion. And these two problems have been brewing not only in the United States, work industry, but really the workforce worldwide. We've seen these issues, in numerous places. One of the biggest places that we have kind of focused in on right now is Walmart. And when we look at these problems, we want to define a strategic plan that would benefit all parts of the organization. The two solutions we chose were surveying employees and monitoring them, as well as an integrated diversity training program. And with the help of Solk from Herix Digital and Simon from MoneyTask, we get a better understanding of why these solutions are so revolutionary. With surveillance and employee monitoring, we can better see the issues that may be undetectable in some aspects to managers. Sometimes it isn't necessarily easy to catch certain things, in your team and your staff, that's kind of dragging you guys down. And being able to find those things, being feasible on the solutions, with surveillance and monitoring your employees can make a big difference. And it's really the best route for success. And this method is a method that it increases productivity because organizations can expect to see a higher level of work from their employees based off employees kind of knowing them on a little bit of a stage. Not necessarily like a performance, but knowing that, their skills are being tested and being constantly looked at every single day. And it's not just, evaluations, it's more of they need to be consistent. So that is kind of a big driving factor in that. And you also get to see a better outlook on time and resource management because time waste is something that is pretty big, especially in Walmart, because a lot of people get the freedom to do their own task. It's kind of like you get ABC done, in this amount of time, whatever. But sometimes either they don't get done in a timely manner or people have, too much free time. They can kind of just wander and do other things, which it becomes sort of an issue. Especially a big money waster. So being able to pinpoint stuff like that is something that can streamline workflows for sure. And you also be able to see a better stance on employee accountability because employee accountability is something you don't usually see a lot of, especially in places like Walmart, just because there's, kind of a certain level of the type of employees that Walmart expects. And those standards, if they're driven down and they're not reinforced, then they can be a broader issue. But being able to have a surveillance system, watching your employees, holding them accountable, it makes it easier than ever, especially if you're tracking data and metrics to target those certain areas that need help. With diversity training, Walmart can expect to see a vast number of positive changes kind of all over the board because they'll be able to see an increased employee engagement, retention in the work being done, and a renewed focus from the staff just because they feel a little bit more safe and secure in their work environment. So Walmart's managers really need to be able to have a developed skill set with diversity and kind of the challenges that come with that, a diversified team. If managers don't know how to handle that kind of situation, then it's just gonna kind of fester and become a larger problem. So being able to do that and to understand the importance of diversity, having your team understand why it's important and why inclusion is important, it's a big deal. It kind of brings the concept to a new light, and you'll be able to have kind of limit certain biases and unawarenesses that are holding your team back. Now we're going to take a look at Colby Sharp's call to action for these solutions.
I'm going to be touching on the actions that we put into place for managerial issues. First, starting with implementation of proper surveillance programs. As companies implement surveillance programs, they should do it in the most ethical ways, tracking employees in visible areas or public places. Next would be installing tracking applications. Employees use technology in every stage of their roles. Using tracking applications can be utilized to see how employees are spending their time and analyze specific data for a variety of different job roles. They can make adjustments and change employee processes from there. Walmart can continue to track employees to determine if the change had a positive or negative effect. Then from there, they can hire outside analysts to critique methods. Although Walmart is a massive global company, it is still important to bring in a new set of perspectives. According to Khalib, a page detailing outside specialists, bringing in people who specialize in process improvement can better make changes to the company rather than specific departments within the company, whereas outside specialists aren't pressed by company biases. The next would be developing clear diversity training. The largest conceptual mountain organizations face in modern times is diversity. Diversity training helps guide employees and management to engage in positive and respectful manners when interacting with work. According to Forbes, starting with the most influential people at work is the best way to start. Educating management on respectful diversity training will then trickle down on other employees. Then creating common goals. Common goals really puts a backbone into the diversity training, helps employee relation bonds. Then you will need tailored diversity training programs. With tailored fitted goals, they will be fitted to work. Having tailored fitted goals when it comes to diversity training also helps. There's no one size fits all when it comes to diversity training. For different roles in a company, diversity training needs to include training that addresses challenges at each level of the company. Relating to these levels in the company, diversity training is not meant to leave any employee out. That would really be counterintuitive and go against the overall goal of the diversity training. When employees feel included, they're more likely to perform at a greater level, and employees at all stages of the company will be encouraged to participate and take advantage of the benefits of the diversity training. And when taking an integrated approach, the training should be best tailored for employee job roles relating to the common groups that the employees interact with. Sessions like company culture, career development, and productivity should all be included in the diversity training. There should not be a limit to one program at a time, for this allows more flexibility when it comes to the diversity training. And next, we're going to have Brandon talk about the evaluation.
As we evaluate our plan, it's important to look at both the qualitative and the quantitative aspects of our issue. For the qualitative aspect, we're looking at things that are actually happening within the Walmart stores. Monitoring employees ensures that a change happens. Before our action plan, employees were unwilling to put in the extra work for the company, and they were less productive. For the qualitative aspects for employee surveillance and monitoring, they will either make a positive impact on employees, meaning that their motivation to do the right thing increases and they get more work done, a neutral impact on employees, meaning there's no change that happens, or a negative impact on employees. A study by Harvard Business Review found that employees who knew they were being monitored were more likely to break the rules, disregard instructions, and work at a slower pace. For the quantitative side of surveillance and employee monitoring, we look at the numbers. We're able to see if there's an increase in output, which is the employees are producing more, or an increase in the quality of work, and the employees are actually giving you a better quality product. As we solve organizational avoidance, remind you that our team implemented a diversity training program for the issue of lack of inclusion. After the implementation plan, we must evaluate our success. A qualitative evaluation will be useful. We will be able to evaluate if our plan has made a more inclusive environment, meaning that people of different backgrounds are coming together and working towards a common goal, or a less inclusive environment, meaning that everybody's just kind of staying in their own little bubbles. For the quantitative side of lack of inclusion, we're going to look at the numbers. So Bruce Anderson said that a good way to measure this is to send surveys out to employees. Now, doing this ensures that the numbers before don't match the numbers after. We will be able to evaluate if our change has made an increase in diversity according to gender, meaning there's a higher percentage of women in the workplace and they're holding higher levels of management, or an increase in diversity according to ethnicity, meaning that more of the workforce is ethnic minorities. And although these issues are important, it's more important that we look at our change and make new changes based on that. Finding multiple solutions to one problem is important because you can take what works from each and use the best parts and come up with the best possible solution. I'm now gonna hand things over to Braxton to wrap things up.
In conclusion, these managerial issues, organizational avoidance, and lack of inclusion affect the workplace environment, employee morale, and store performance. Addressing these challenges is critical for Walmart to create a more organized, inclusive, and productive work environment beneficial to both employees and customers. Implementing employee surveillance and monitoring can be instrumental in identifying and addressing issues that are at the root of Walmart's problems. This approach not only boosts productivity, but also instills a sense of responsibility among employees to perform at higher levels when aware of the attention from both their peers and managers. Additionally, investing in diversity training at Walmart promises numerous positive outcomes, such training fosters increased employee engagement, retention, and a daily focus on creating a safe and inclusive work environment. It equips managers with essential skills to effectively manage diversity challenges, crucial for a diversified team. Without proper diversity training, managing diversity effectively becomes a challenge. This training not only enhances management confidence, but also helps employees understand the significance of diversity and inclusion, especially those struggling with biases and unawareness, enabling them to embrace these concepts in a new light. Overall, combining surveillance measures and robust diversity training offers a path to a more efficient, inclusive, and productive workplace at Walmart. We appreciate you listening to our presentation, and we hope that we've informed you about Walmart's managerial issues along with ways to implement solutions.